trouble. Better keep these laws, statutes and commandments. What you gonna do? In time of trouble. Judgment's yeah. What you gonna do? Yeah. Judgment's yeah. In time of trouble, yeah. What you gonna do? Yeah. What now? What you gonna do? In time of trouble. Judgment's yeah. You better not yeah. Judgment's yeah. In time of trouble.
Shalom. Welcome to the room. First, I want to give all praises to Yahweh Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shai. Shout out to the 12 tribes scattered abroad. Greetings and blessings. Welcome to tonight's class of Jacob's Trouble on Thy Kingdom Come. This is episode 18, and we'll be covering communication and becoming a gray man. Over the past couple of months, for quite a few months, we've been going into Jacob's Trouble. We've been covering what is it? What does it entail from a biblical perspective? How does it affect us, the children of Israel? Things to consider, different aspects of Jacob's Trouble, World War III, power outages, cyber attacks, hyperinflation, famine, things like that. We've covered various different aspects of Jacob's Trouble on preparedness. Of course, most importantly, preparing in the spirit, shedding our sins, having faith in the Most High that He's going to do what He said He's going to do. He's going to protect us, lead us, and guide us, as well as in the natural, food storage, bug out bags, food storage, water storage, bug out bags, personal protection, first aid, starting a garden, what to grow, how to grow it, things to consider. We covered all of that in the aspect of the Jacob's Trouble series. So, and with that, we had a different segment of Jacob's Trouble called Analyzing Jacob's Trouble, where we went through different movies and TV shows and extrapolated relevant lessons that different scenarios that we could experience, or things that we can learn from those movies and TV shows. So tonight, welcome to episode 18 of Jacob's Trouble, Communication and Being a Gray Man. So first I want to start off with communication. This is in respect of, having a plan of action for when all hell breaks loose, okay? So first, people, when you think communication, people think ham radios and all the cool, walkie-talkies. Yeah, that's part of it. But more importantly is having a plan of action already in place for when all hell breaks loose, okay? So for example, when me and my wife, when we were working outside the home, I told her, listen, if something happens, and we're both at work, first things first, come straight home. And we had a little discussion about that because she works at a daycare, and all the children are Edomites, and I was telling her that's not your problem. But and I said, okay, so when you and the thing is, like, there's two ways that she could take to go home. She could take the side streets, or she could take the highway. So I told her I gave her the exact route to take, and the reason for that is, if I make it home and she's not there, or there's a waiting period, a couple of hours, and I have to go look for her, I know exactly the route she should have taken, and that's the route I'm taking. And prayerfully along the way, if something happened, we will run into each other. So I told her, don't take the highway, take this route, take the side streets, and this exact route of the side streets. Like so we discussed which ways she typically takes when she takes the side streets. Which way is faster. So, I knew, so I would know ahead of time, this is the route she's taking. And then, and I told her, if you make it home first, wait there. I'm coming home. Like, don't worry about it. Just, I'm coming home. So it's not, but the thing is, we had that established before, anything happened. Thank the good Lord, nothing has happened while, we were working away from home. But in 2020, we both started working from home. So, that plan wasn't really necessary. But having the good practice of practicing that, or having that already established before something happened, is one important aspect of communication that everyone should have already established, between parents, between children. If you got kids in college, they're away. I mean, have that already established as to, if they're in college, and they're still in state, do not leave your dorm. I'm coming to get you. Now, unless blah blah blah. So whatever the plan is, have that already established before Jacob's trouble really hits. Okay. If you're part of a congregation, talk to your leadership about any meetup plans. What do they have planned for this? If prayerfully they have something, for the congregation. There's one congregation I know. They have, you know, people assigned to each other, kind of like a buddy system. So, a husband and wife, they're assigned a single person. So they make sure that they're prepared. They got food stocked, and if something happens, that single person will come to their house. Like, you come to our house. If it's elderly, then they got other arrangements, but they have a system. So whether it's perfect or not, whatever, who cares? They have a system in place. So it's a good accountability system, and it's goes outside of it. Go this That system that they set up goes outside of, from what my understanding, goes outside of just Jacob's trouble. It's just you need counseling or anything like that. But in the event of Jacob's trouble, this this family is in contact with this single person, or single mom, or anything like that. So it's a good system, but it's a system nonetheless, versus everyone just running around with chickens with their head cut off. If your congregation has land, ask the leadership, what's the plan for meeting up here? Do we meet up here immediately, when things pop off? Do we stay in a house for a certain amount of days? Do we stay in the house and then eventually make our way there? So have that, talk to your leadership about it. If they don't think it's necessary, then, you and your household make those plans. Okay. That's just something, if you're part of a congregation. I've heard quite a few stories of different plans and things like that. So, and, you know, so whatever it is, make sure you are aware of it, especially if you're new. If you've been there for years, and, just make sure, hey guys, this is still the plan, and now with that, whatever the plan is, are we staying at home? Are we going to location X? And most importantly, be specific and be detailed about this type of communication. When things immediately pop off, what are we to do? And again, when Jacob's trouble hits, a lot of these plans, a lot of these perfectly laid plans, will not go perfectly as planned. They may, the Most High wills it, but you take this exact route, and do not take any other route. Power line, or it could get blocked by cars or whatever. So my wife may have taken another route, but understanding that and being adaptable to say, okay, if that happens, then this is the route you should take, or whatever. But with these plans and with this communication, understand that you will have to be adaptable. So, my husband said, do X, Y, and Z. Well, you can't do X, Y, and Z because the bridge is out. So, you know, or go here. You can't go there because, there's, tons of lava coming in your direction. So understanding that, but the thing is, it's better to have a plan in place and be adaptable in your mind right now before things pop off. And just, I guess my hint, or I guess my advice would be to, get in the house. Stay inside the house. I have a precept for that, really quick. But that's just my personal opinion. Like, wherever you are, get in your house. So this is Isaiah 26:20. Come, my people, Enter thou into thy chambers and shut thy doors about thee. Hide thyself as it were for a little moment until the indignation be overpassed. For the Lord, for behold, verse 21, for behold, the Lord cometh out of his place to punish the inhabitants of the earth for their iniquity. The earth also shall disclose her blood and shall no more cover her slain. Now, if you want to say this is a spiritual house, that too. Um, but you can take this as you whatever your shelter is, get inside. Um, so that's just my understanding of, because here's the thing, and the reason I say that, get inside, is because when things pop off, people who do not have understanding, people who are do not have no clue what's going on, people who are going to be caught off guard, as in the days of Noah, they're going to lose it. You think things are bad now, but wait until La Palma drops into the ocean and you got 7 hours to get off the coast. Watch what happens. Now, if you're on the coast, definitely start praying for direction. If you have congregations who are on the coast, definitely say, hey, if this happens, what is the plan for the congregation? Um, you know, you really should start considering that. But one thing I will say about that, this is kind of going away from communication, but well, it's part of it too, is have routes to get out of, or if the Most High tells you to leave, have routes established as the best you can. And when I say routes, I'm talking about the least known routes, because everyone's going to take the highway. That's where everyone goes to go to work. It's the easiest, the fastest. That's the first place everyone's going to think of. And pray for a heads up if things are imminent. So, but most importantly, pray for his direction. He may actually have you stay in the house, and your house may be spared. Um, so, with that, whatever the situation is, have this communication set up with your household ahead of time in your congregation. Okay. Next one. Okay, now ways to communicate. So, one thing, the most important thing is this typically happens in hurricane season. And, when I was living in Houston, um, hurricane to pass, and phone lines be down. We've all experienced phone lines outages or things like that. The best thing you can do is to text over versus calling. Okay, because when text, it takes less signal strength and less bandwidth to travel versus a phone call. Phone call takes a lot more, so you are more likely to be successful texting versus calling your loved one. So in an event of natural disaster, phone lines are down, which I can assure you, again, just using La Palma as an example, once it hits the coast, phone lines are going to be out in neighboring cities and states, or even the complete state, for some time. So, texting is definitely, the preferred method in that type of situation. If you want to, again, with your loved ones or whatever, if you want to text like a code, so like a 3-letter word or a code, you could put 144,000, like they know what that means. So versus you texting a whole sentence, hey, La Palma's on the way, grab the bags, get the kids, blah, 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 versus you texting that quick little word or phrase, they know what that means. Go home, or, get ready to leave, blah, blah, blah. That'll just make the success of that text going over when all the lines are, getting clogged. Because even if you have 7 hours notice, everyone's going to be calling everybody. It's going to get, there will be a log jammed in the communications. So something short, quick, the person who's receiving it knows exactly what it means. And then, there you go. So just something to consider. One second. Hold on one second. I got a question. Can you run the library? Sometimes details, city maps, back streets. Okay. Someone said you can go to the city or library or something and get one of those detailed city maps that have back streets, etc. I keep one in my bug out bag at all times. Yes, that's a very good idea. Um, Definitely have that. And maps, definitely you should have that in your bug out bag without question. But one thing I do want to say now, while we have the luxury of time, is to look at the maps now. So you already have that route routed, and in the meantime, drive by it a few times. If it's unfamiliar to you, take that route a few times and just see, okay, there's a gas station here. Okay, this is a neighborhood. Okay, this is a police station. So okay, the probability of traffic, you know, um, well, just for you can be more familiar with the route that you plan on taking versus you're in a panic and you're leaving and this is your first time taking this route. We've some of us, we've taken the route to work 1,000 times and we almost blank out and space out because we're so accustomed to taking that route. So versus a new route under pressure, um, you know prayerfully we won't have the spirit of fear during this time, but being calm because you've went this route a few times. So that's very good, a good idea. Thank you, Barry, brother Ariane. Um, now after we covered the text, one thing you want to have to your bug out bags, you can put these in your car or have them in your house, are walkie talkies. Okay, so one thing to explain about walkie talkies. You can find some good ones on Amazon. Midland is a good brand. I have those. I've used those in different areas. They hold up pretty well. But the thing you should know when you're looking at walkie talkies, you're going to see like 5 mile range, 10 mile range, 20 mile range. Okay, let me explain how that works. That mile of range that they advertise on those walkie talkies is line of sight. Okay. So you cannot be in your house, in your house with a walkie talkie and your family member lives 5 miles away in their house and you guys talk to each other. That's not what it means. It means line of sight. So if you imagine yourself on a hill 5 miles away, you can see the other person on top of the hill. You guys can communicate with each other. Okay, that's what it means, line of sight. So that doesn't mean through walls and through, concrete buildings and all that for 5 miles. No, and that's not what it means. It means, even though they should advertise that because that's what I thought it meant until I looked it up and someone explained, no, that means line of sight. So just know that if you're in a house and someone is in a house and you're trying to talk, it probably is not going to have a good signal, just because of the barriers. So the radius that's talking about is line of sight. If you're in a forest, if you're on a hilltop and the person's in a valley, probably not going to get a signal. So in the woods, you guys are in the woods together, 5 miles apart, probably not. You may, but don't purchase that thinking that's 5 miles anywhere, any location, any circumstance. No, it's not. Okay. And so, have that, in case you guys do get split up, uh, everyone has one and is able to communicate. And again, if you're in a congregation, it's better. I mean, if no congregation or church or camp has started this yet, it's better to get the same brand. Even though, as long as you're on the same channel and the same frequency, you'll be able to talk to each other. It's just better to get the same brand until everyone make sure they're on the same brand. So hey guys, we're on channel 5, and whatever. Everyone's who has the same brand. There's no problems with brands crossing over. Usually, it's not a problem, but you never know. So it's one thing to consider. Um, Now, next thing is people ask Salaki. People have asked about this. This is ham radios. Okay, the or the CB radios that the truckers have, or ham radios that we see in the movies. Should you get one? That's a good question. So someone asked me, should they get a ham radio? And I asked them, do they know how to use a ham radio? She said no. And then I said, are you going to learn how to use it? and she didn't say anything. So that right there gave us both our answers as to whether or not she should get a ham radio. So here's the thing: if you get it and you don't know how to use it and you don't set it up, um, don't get one. Just don't waste your money. Um, People who use ham radios, one thing about it is um, to talk normally. I mean, for one, it's one of the best inventions ever created because you can, if you have a good ham radio and you have you set up your antennas, you can talk to someone from France and you can talk to someone from Japan perfectly over a ham radio. You can talk to anyone in the world if they have a ham radio too, and you guys are, the towers are working and everything's fine. You could talk. So it's a great communication tool to get information anywhere in the world at any time. However, you have to learn how to use it. It's not going to do you any good. Those buttons, you have to know what they mean. If you are interested in getting a ham radio, if that's an interest, I would go for it. To get licensed, I looked it up. It's not that bad. It's just a test of, asking you, what do you know about frequencies, and there's some math involved, I think, but it's simple. There's a ton of YouTube courses that teach you how to pass the test, and you'll get your handle, so you can have your name or whatever. So when people refer to you on the line, you can talk to them. Here's the thing about that. If I jump on the thing about that, when people say, is it illegal and all this stuff? If it's not in an emergency, and you do not have your license, you can just listen in. So you can listen in people's conversations. You can just turn on go through the tuner, listen to people's conversations, this and that. But if you try to enter in the conversation, they're going to ask you for your handle and your it's kind of like your ID number. And if you don't provide one, they'll just ignore you. And then they might just go to a new frequency or whatever and just ignore you. So, but in the times of emergency, like a hurricane hit the city, anyone whether you have a license or not can use the ham radio to get information or to call for help or let people know what's going on. There's no restrictions. So if you are using it for emergencies, that may be it, but learn how to use it. I mean, there's a reason that those buttons mean a certain thing. You might have to buy another antenna that's longer and has more capability. I was looking into it. I was interested at one point, and the videos, just certain things that you just assume. It's like, oh, well, I didn't know that works like that. So, there's some antennas that will give you a wider range. They tell you can connect your laptop to it. It's a lot of cool things you can do. But if you're just going to buy it and throw it in your closet and never use it and whatever, don't get it. It's just a waste. You're just wasting money. Okay. So with that, you want to have part of communication. If you're not going to use a ham radio, they have kind of like ham radios, but like walkie-talkie style. You can set those. One second, hold on. Salakia. You can set those to local emergency frequencies. So you can have you can program it for the local government, city hall, police. I had one. It was a Bofang. I just programmed like the local emergency channels. So excuse me, looking for the word channels or frequencies for like the city hall, police. If anything happened in the city, I could hear it over the band. However, they do have apps that you can use that do that. So you can just download Police Scanner or whatever, and I think you can type in your city and you can hear everything that's going around the police scanner. Those are, I mean, it's open frequency, so it's not like they know you're listening. But if you want to hear them or hear what's going on, you can download those. You can download those apps, which I would recommend. And I'm going to get into that a little bit. Some of those offline apps. Someone said, "Is a ham radio what my father called a CB?" Yes, they're pretty much the same. CB radios, ham radios, but the CB is more for truckers. So if that's what you're father had. But yeah, now, where was I? Okay. So next with communication. Okay, this is important. Understanding the symbols of the government. Okay, that's when we're communicating. They put something. Let me just change my picture real quick. If they change, if you see this on your door, which I'm sure everyone from Katrina or Louisiana saw these symbols. What do they mean? You can just pull to refresh. Those symbols mean something. In the picture, if you just, I guess, click on my picture, they'll tell you what those symbols mean. The X with the date at the top, the symbol on the right at the bottom, there's another symbol. On the left of the X, there's another symbol. So a lot of those were on a lot of people's doors during Hurricane Katrina, but most people didn't know what they mean. But that's a sign that FEMA uses. Okay, those are search and rescue markings. So um, that's part of communication. Um, know what that means. I just have a picture here. I'll put in the chat. I'll put it on my Instagram. But that is part of communication. So if you're walking in a neighborhood and you see it, Azra, you want to say something?
I wanted to say, don't forget the link feature. We could utilize that now.
I'm sorry. Say that again.
I said, don't forget the link feature. You said you wanted to share things in the box chat. Don't forget you could use the link feature, and they could see it right above in Clubhouse
Yeah,
in real
he's talking
time.
about the pin to the top, Leo, like
Con,
of the room,
pin the link.
at the top of the room. You can do that now.
Yeah, I didn't get that update yet. I'm trying to
Oh,
search for
still out.
as
Oh
you guys were
yeah,
talking about it.
Okay, con.
Yeah, so like you can link pictures now.
You can link like the links for like if you go into different sites or things like that. You can just link it to the top of the room now. So
Okay, cool. Yeah, I don't have that update. I've been looking for it, but I don't see it on mine. So
yeah, you just got to go to the App Store when you get time after. Just go to the App Store and do update now.
con, appreciate it. The water. So understanding what those symbols mean, those are FEMA search and rescue markings. Know what that means. Especially if you're out and about and you're trying to enter a house, if there's dead inside or there's no one inside, but FEMA's already passed through. Okay. It's not hard, or you can just take this picture and keep it with you. I mean, if you don't, want to memorize it, you could just, have it with you. So that works just as well. Just throw it in your bug out bag or your wallet or your purse, and have it with you. Same thing goes for tactical signs. I wouldn't get too bogged down in that. When you watch the movies with the military, they raise their fist and do a little circle with their fingers. It would be a good idea to know what that means. Okay, so that's part of communication. You see it, you know what the leader or the squad leader is commanding the rest of the troops if you're hidden or whatnot. So um, another thing to consider. Um, Another thing to consider about communication is hazardous materials. Okay, if you're in a situation where you see a barrel and it has some markings, it may be drinkable water, but you don't understand those markings, or it may be, acid, understanding what those mean, what those signs mean, or having a way to get access to those signs. I'm going to discuss that in a little bit. Know what that means. Same thing with over-the-counter drugs and prescription drugs. Know the ingredients, know the side effects. Same thing with antibiotics. Now, how are you going to learn all of this? There is a bunch of offline apps that you can use. These are offline. That means it does not require internet connection. So, one thing you could do, one for the maps, one of the brothers were bringing out is a map. It's a app called Here We Go. Okay, so it's a map kind of like Google Maps or Waze or whatever. It does the exact turn by turn direction. I think they updated it to where it does that. So you want to download that app, and then you download the region. So it saves to your phone. So you might have to delete some stuff if you don't have enough memory or space on your phone. So it's called Here We Go. Download it. You can download your entire state's map on your phone, and it's pretty accurate. I mean, they update it regularly, so just you have to update it. They'll update it, I think, with Google or Waze or whatnot, and it's an offline map, so you download it to your phone. So if in an off chance event you can't get to your map, but you have your old phone with you, you can go to Here We Go and um, download the state. One thing I did with it, excuse me, is I downloaded a few neighboring states too. So when I was in Texas, I downloaded Texas, Louisiana, I think Mississippi. Don't Texas, Louisiana, and Oklahoma. Definitely, I definitely downloaded those three maps. Oklahoma, I'm pretty familiar with. I've been there more times than I can count. But those three neighboring states. So you probably want to do that, if you because you never know where you're going to be. So at least you'll have the your state that you're in and the neighboring states. So it's called Here We Go. Okay. Police scanners. You need internet for that. There's some RX apps. RX meaning like prescription drugs. That'll if you're in a situation you don't know what that is, you can literally just type in the name of that drug. It'll give you what it does, the side effects, what it's made of. It'll give you all the information. It's all offline. Okay. Another app called Hazmat, or you can type in hazardous materials. I think it gives you like a bunch of placards, like little signs, and you can see what that is. Now, there's some offline apps also you can use is First Aid. Those are offline. Now, I know some people are going to say, hell no, I'm not downloading that one. FEMA is a good one. Again, the government already knows where we are anyway, so it doesn't matter. But FEMA, they just have like emergency, information. If you can find that from another app that you're more comfortable with, all praises. But I mean, it's they have one available too. So those are some of the key points about communication. Some of the other nuanced things that people discuss is Morse code and all that stuff. If you have the time and you have the interest, sure, it definitely will not be a bad thing to learn, because the same way as I discussed text over call, you're going to have a lot of military and government agencies use Morse code because it's just faster. It's you don't need a whole lot of bandwidth to the beep 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 beep. You don't need all of it's just beeps and bloops that they're sending over, and the person on the other end who understands that knows what that means. So it's just I'm gonna say more efficient because you have to know it versus just talking over radio. That's going to be a faster way for them to get the message out. If something is, if they're having if they having connectivity issues, and other issues like that. So if you want to pick up Morse code, sure, it will definitely add to the bags of tricks or bags of skills that will could be beneficial. So, and again, with all this is just planning ahead of and being proactive in terms of communication. So, one thing before we move on to Gray Man, is there any questions or comments or things you want to add to the communications aspect? I'll yield at this time. And if if you're shy, don't want to come on stage, just put your question in the chat or DM me, and I'll read it out loud and answer it. So I'll yield this time. If there's anything you brothers want to add to the topic of communication.
Yeah, I mean, it was another app also. It was called Osmond. It's OSMAND, and it's like a maps and navigation app. It's also offline, so the maps are downloaded on there. So like if your phone goes out or your phone doesn't have service, these maps are usually updated, so you can use it for different maps and also tracking. It was kind of like the one that Leo had shared. So that's just another option as well. And you could download it for Android or iOS. So that was just something else to add.
Con. Oh, go ahead, Azrael.
Con the water. I was just gonna say, break it down and learn some old school stuff, right? Learn to read a map. If you could find a map, back in the day, MapQuest was a big thing before Google Maps, right? You would print out your map, take it with you on your road trip. We got to go back to that. We got to learn how to read maps. Bare minimum, you should know the layout of your city or the state that you in to a certain extent, right? So I would say, just as a, old tech way of doing things, find a site where you could print off maps of your immediate area and then your larger area, your state, get those laminated and put that as a part of your bug out bag as well, right? I think that'll benefit you a lot because we've lost our sense of direction with GPS. Let's face it, right? The average person without GPS wouldn't even know how to get home from going someplace 3, 4, 5 miles away. So I would say learn to read a map, right? Make it a practice. It shouldn't take that long to do. Of course, we know learning curves differ from person to person, but that's a good thing to pick up in spare time, right? Whilst we still have the internet, we still have access to these resources. Print out the maps of your area, print out the map of your state, get those laminated, and put those things near to your bug out bag, right? So that's what I wanted to add to this conversation since we were, on the topic of communication and where to meet up and things of that nature. So I
Con, all praises. Before I'm glad you guys brought that out because that gave me an idea in terms of the mapping. Is and I'll there's some videos I've saw on YouTube. I'll put that as a playlist and put that in the chat. That teach you how to look at a map or how to what the lines and all that stuff mean, how to use the map with the compass. So I'll put that in there. It like literally takes like 10 minutes to learn, but you got to watch it a few times because if you've never done it before, everything is new. But if you pull to refresh, you'll see this app. I download it. I mean, where I am, I don't need it now, but it's called The Dirt. So this is an app that shows you all the camping sites in your area. So you just pull it, you download it, you open it, and if you want to share your location, you can. But it'll just kind of like plot all the camping sites and national parks in your area. So the reason why I think this is important. So if you are on the road, you'll know. Okay, hey, there's this RV park. 2 miles if we just exit the highway and go down this road. There's an RV park, or there's a camping site or whatever that we can duck off or whatever. So just having that extra option because if you're traveling down, the main road, whether, you're driving or you have to walk, and then, not having a place to like, I guess refresh or at least, that is designed for camping, having that in your head, okay, if we make it to this point, we can, take a break or whatever, but having that, you know, knowing that a camp is there, just if you just go down this road for half a mile, you're going to run into this camping park. Um, it's couldn't hurt to have. Okay, um, so you just want to have as many options as possible, and of course, with all this, I gotta keep saying this, all at the direction of the Most High. He's ultimately going to guide us where He wants us to be. But just having that idea in your head. So even if you do what Brother Azrael said, you print off the maps and laminate them. As you're printing them off, you can just put a little X or a triangle or whatever to indicate that that's a camping grounds or whatever. So it's just a good idea to have additional information. Couldn't hurt. But again, we discussed if you do go to a camp, a camping park or a national forest, I'm sure I can almost guarantee you won't be alone. So when you get there, you got to have a plan of who's sleeping, who's going to be up. Make sure you be discreet with your belongings, which we're going to get into in terms of being a gray man here shortly. But just having that option of places to go that are not that well known in your area will be a good idea, because everyone's going to be looting and rioting and going to trying to your highway is going to be, unless you leave ahead of the crowd, is going to be gridlock, 100% guaranteed. So just keep that in mind. So, Brother Mike, is there anything you want to add before I move on to the gray man section?
So,
Okay, cool. So going on to the next section, this is gray man, and with that, I went ahead and threw in the next section. Well, it's not a section; it plays into the gray man. It's called OPSEC. So OPSEC is just short for operational security. And I got a few precepts before I get into the ins and outs of being a gray man and OPSEC. So this is Proverbs 13:4. There is a man that makes himself rich, yet has nothing. There is a man that makes himself poor, yet has great riches. Next precept is Proverbs 10:19. This is from the New Living Translation. Too much talk leads to sin. Be sensible and keep your mouth shut. Proverbs 13:3. He that keeps his mouth, he that keeps his mouth keeps his life, but he that opens wide his lips shall have destruction. Proverbs 21:23. Whoso keepeth his mouth and his tongue keeps his soul from troubles. Okay. So that in essence is operational security. Shut up. And then with that being a gray man, we're going to go into some things of terms of what is a gray man. So the gray man, this term describes the intentional act of dressing and behaving in an inconspicuous manner in order to avoid any unwanted attention from strangers or authorities. Okay, I got to read that again. This term describes the intentional act of dressing and behaving in an inconspicuous manner. Keyword is inconspicuous manner. In order to avoid any unwanted attention from strangers or authorities. Okay? The goal is to dress, walk, and behave as a local without attracting any attention to yourself. To blend in a foreign, usually hostile environment. To be visible, yet invisible at the same time. Okay? So that's a whole lot of things to unpack when you discuss the prepper community. This is, for some preppers, this is a cuss word, but nonetheless, it is wisdom. So says the scriptures. Okay, let's continue. It is a term It is a term sometimes used by special forces or espionage operatives in scenarios when an operative in the field must assume the disguise of an average, unremarkable local civilian. The goal is to use the disguise in order to travel unchecked through populated urban areas while remaining undetected and to avoid attracting any attention to himself or his real identity as a foreign agent. So, that last part I want to speak on. When you see, when you look at, movies of like spy movies and all this stuff, and the person, is, it's a woman for me, she's attractive, and like that whole scenario. No, government agents, they want average looking people. Like, no, you are too attractive. We cannot have you as a spy. Everyone's going to be looking at you. You are too attractive. Next, okay, yeah, you're basic looking, you're bland, perfect. Okay. It's kind of the opposite of what we see in the movies. So it's not, the person who's like, the most attractive in the crowd, or, everyone's like, oh, who's that? Oh, yeah. No. They want people who, they walk by, and you don't even think twice. Now, why is this important for us? Now, as the children of Israel, we should have our fringes on. Women, you want to, with the head wraps, absolutely. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is people dress like they're going to war. You are going to draw so much unwanted attention. People are going to be trying to, they get scared and want to shoot back because they think you're going to do something. They're going to, rush to you for help because they think you're the savior. It's just unnecessary attention that I think the prepper community, which is mostly ran by Edomites, those guys are going to get wiped off the map, especially when Moab and Meshech and Russia, China, Iran, when they get here, you do not want to be looking like the enemy. You do not want to be looking like law enforcement. You do not want to be looking like SWAT. You do not want to be looking like any organized militia. Russia knows we're the children of Israel. Iran knows we're the children of Israel. So when they see those fringes and the head wraps, and when they see that, they know what that means. But if you look like you're part of SWAT, they're going to shoot. I mean, you would too if you're in their position. You're going to think you're going to think that's the enemy. Okay. So gray man goes beyond what you dress or how you dress. It's quite a few things that go to be a gray man. Okay, so let's go into the different aspects. First, be a gray man at home. Okay, we have a tendency to feel safe at home. I'm gonna post this article in the chat, but this is a really good one. We have a tendency to feel safe at home that can lead to complacency. Do not let this happen. You need to be just as vigilant, if not more, at home than anywhere else. At home, you have friends and neighbors who know you. These people come into your home. They may borrow your lawnmower. They may come for dinners and drinks. These are the people you feel the guiltiest about when you tell them you can't help them after Jacob's trouble. They put shit hits the fan about I'm saying Jacob's trouble. With that in mind, here's some tips to be a gray man in your home environment. Most of us have already blown step number 1, but it's okay. Never let anyone know you are prepared. They should not know about your extra food, water, and supplies. Now, I know, years ago, I'm speaking personally. Years ago, I completely ignored this rule, because I'm getting all excited. And this goes into OPSEC too, keeping your mouth shut. When I, came into the truth, learned about, Jacob's trouble and all this, it's like, oh, you got to get prepared. So she starts sharing the truth with, friends and family, and they all think you're crazy. And then one of my friends, he made the joke, well, something happens, I'm just coming to your house. And I was like, or you can get prepared. And him and his wife, he's married, got 3 kids, they got, there's no, financially speaking, there's no reason they should not be prepared, but they aren't. So anyway, hopefully that's changed. But anyway, you're going to have those people. They know you're prepping. They know you got this. So for me, I think the last the last 2 years or 3 years, I stopped talking about it, even though they kind of knew, but I just stopped talking about it. Like I wouldn't, bring up the idea of, prepping or anything like that, or food store. I wouldn't talk to them about it. I would talk to people who I knew or who I know are actively doing it or interested or, got some questions. I would talk to them about it. But, people shouldn't know what you have in your house. If they do, then you're going to have to deal with the consequences of when they come knocking on your door. What should you do? They come knocking on your door. Some people say, screw them. They said they're going to, they're making the reference to the parable of the 10 virgins, which I don't blame them. I mean, it's your choice. You do whatever you want. But some people, said that, they're prepping also for those family members that they know are going to come by. And, again, that's their prerogative. So whatever you decide, just know, if, the people who know you got something are probably going to come to your house. Okay. Neighbors, strangers, the way you want to do that is one thing I did. I had, when I would go get a big haul, or I was coming from the gun range or whatever, I would always park in the garage. And I would always park in the garage, and then take out the stuff out of my Jeep. But there was times when I had to take the trash out, and people driving by or walking by would see what I had in the garage. It was just like extra water tanks and stuff like that. But nothing to be like, oh, what is he doing? Nothing like that. So that's one way of, OPSEC is being discreet. No one should know, you have, and again, the prepper community is the worst at this. All these guns, all these ammo, everyone knows, you have, now some of these people with the prepper channels, I mean, I wouldn't dare go into their house knowing what they have, but still people know, I mean, they got neighbors. I mean, people, they watch their channels, they seen their videos, so they know what they got. And, they're gonna be the first ones, coming to their house for help. So again, be discreet as much as possible. Um, you know, so that just goes into it. If someone does, if a neighbor does, oh, why do you have all those extra waters? At this point, like seriously, people should get the memo. If they don't, I mean, but whatever, you can, if you want to lie to them, they're not, uh, uh, an Israelite, however you want to handle that, you'll be, wise to handle it in some situation, okay, while using wisdom, okay. So, and again, here's the next one. Don't dress in tactical clothing on a regular basis. Okay, I mean that should be common sense, but you go to the gun range. Some people are just dressed like they're ready for war, and it's like, guys, this is whatever. You want to look normal as possible. Now, if you guys are ordering ammo and stuff through the mail, I was shocked that this company did this. Um, you want to cut off shipping labels and delivery boxes, with a box cutter, take out the names, things like that. So one time I ordered some ammo, and the UPS dropped it off, and it was just big on the box. Forgot the name of the company. I think it was like Gun Warehouse. I was like, seriously, you guys, could you guys be any more discreet, or could you guys be any less discreet? They just had it plastered on, so the UPS guy knew he was dropping off some ammo at my house. But I think people started to complain because when I ordered from them again, the box didn't have anything on it. It just had the shipping label on top. So, I think they got the memo that, hey guys, you guys aren't discreet at all about this. So, if you're doing that, make sure you dispose the boxes. And, one thing I did, I disposed those boxes in different areas. So I would take the boxes, of course, cutting off the shipping labels, but I would take the boxes to work and then throw them in the company bin or whatever. So, the garbage man would not see when he picks up my trash, like, oh, this guy got, a bunch of, bullets or whatever. So, um, you know, one thing, keep that in mind. So, um, I'm just going to touch on this because this is a pretty long list. So I'm just going to touch on some of the key points about being a gray man. We're still dealing with in the home. So if the power is out, keep your home as dark as possible. If you got generators and candles and lights and, all that, cool stuff you were accumulating, you don't want to draw any attention. That's part of OPSEC. That's part of, being a gray man. So, um, you know, just be aware of that. Same thing goes for the cooking. We covered that many times. You just don't want to draw unwanted attention. Okay. Let's see, on the move. Okay, appearance. Um, Now with the appearance, this one of the things. Okay, this is the main one that sticks out. Um, if you have a bug out bag, not a bug out bag is something different. If you have it's called an EDC, so everyday carry. So it's just like a backpack, or that you have in your truck or that you carry with you to your office, and it has emergency supplies in it, but it looks like a normal backpack. Make it normal that it would look like, oh, he would wear that to the office or whatever. Something, nothing too flashy, nothing bright and colorful. Don't let people know what you got inside. Things like that. So um, you know it takes again, the key word in that definition was intentional. So you definitely want to be intentional in your appearance and the way you act. Okay. So when it comes to behavior, I know we're in the last days. I know Edom is wiling. I know our people are wiling, but you want to avoid confrontation at all costs. Keep your head down, do what you got to do, get home. If you're going out with some friends, limit that. It's just things that you do not want to draw. The Most High is protecting us, I have no doubt. But given the time frame that we're in these last days, it's just just behooves us to have that extra precaution. Okay, so with that, if you are out in public, part of having you want to have social awareness. Okay, do not be on your cell phone walking down the street, stupid stuff like that. If you go to a restaurant, know where the exits are. Have make sure everyone in your group they have some awareness. Okay, if you're out drinking, for the love of God, do not get too drunk to where you can't function in the last days. That makes absolutely no sense. If you're at your home, or your home someone, or if you're at home, Salakia, or at a home someone you trust, that's different. But out in a bar or a restaurant and y'all just getting plastered, it's just not wise. Okay, and when people are drunk, everyone in the crowd can easily spot the drunk person, so therefore you just blew being a gray man. Okay, so if you need to move in a if you need to move in a large crowd, one thing to do is get from point A to point B as quickly as possible. If it appears, well, okay, you'll never know when a stampede is going to come, but one thing some people do, they move on the outer perimeter of the crowd, so to avoid any type of stampeding or things like that. So that's essentially it when it comes to being a gray man. It's not that much. I mean, the key word is blending in. Now, and again, the word is inconspicuous. I know preppers in general, they want to show off all their cool toys and guns and gas masks and look what I got and look at me at the gun range and all these videos, and great. If you don't care about the attention and you're willing to take on whatever consequences comes from you being conspicuous, then go ahead. I mean, but it's just unwise, especially in these last days, and especially when you go to Jacob's trouble. Again, the scenario could be any number of things. You can have power outages, you can have invasion, you can have La Palma, tsunamis, earthquakes, whatever. The point is, whatever the environment is, you want to blend in as much as possible. Now, again, our Hebrew garments, that's not, I mean, everyone knows about the Hebrew Israelites, the black Hebrew Israelite. Everybody knows. Okay, so that's not the type of that's not the type of attention I'm talking about. I'm talking more of the I'm ready to go to war with Esau or World War III, or the government, that type of stuff. It's just like you're. I mean, if that's what you want, go right ahead. And then also, it's just if you're by yourself, you're single, you don't care, that's different. But again, if you're with family, friends, children, it's just not wise. I mean, you're walking with a group of 5 people and you're the only one that looks like you're from a member of SWAT. Or you're dressed like the U.S. military. It's just not wise, and that's another thing too. I know we see, like, in terms of like fashion, and in terms of like the fatigues, or the some of the button down shirts that have like Air Force with the little wings on them and stuff like that. Get rid of that. I mean, you can have it now, it's fine, but when things go off, do not wear any of that. Again, you may be wearing that for fashion, but people are going to think, especially like you got to put yourself in the eyes or the seat of you're going to another country to invade, and the U.S. military, the Marines, and you're going to have um, one second. So, Salakia, you you you're trained on what the Marines look like. You're trained with all that, and you're going to have some local militia to fight. You do not want to look like the local militia, even though you have firearms with you and personal protection. You do not want to look like the local militia and law enforcement. So, that's just some things to words of wisdom with being a gray man, keeping your mouth shut. No one should know what you have. Blend in as much as possible. And as the Gentiles get drawn to our light. That's not what I mean. But the inconspicuous is the key thing. So with that, I yield. If brothers have anything they want to bring out or precepts, feel free. If you have any questions, raise your hand or drop a message in the DM.
Very good lesson, Malak. It was very well put together. Yeah. So, um, I think Leo basically covered it. I would say, I've been watching it's a lot of tapes out there, as far as like preppers go, as well as, ex-Navy SEALs, those of which that, go into, like a little more in depth of just operating as a gray man. It's certain things that you can do, certain type of bags that they have available. I see Brother Matt came on stage. But it's certain things that you can get. It was something I'm looking at. It was actually on just in carrying around certain things, weapons or so. You don't want to have a big bag that looks like you have a weapon in it if you're carrying around a weapon. It's just to say, we know when shit hits the fan, it hits the fan. It's going to be really whatever it is. But as of like now, say you have to travel, go on a road trip, a lot of these bags, you want it to be inconspicuous and you don't want to look like you're carrying around, even if you have a guitar bag, us as even a lot of us, they not gonna be thinking that we're musicians most of the time. That's a good route to go, but they also have things that for those that carry ARs, they have a bracket that you can actually look up on and it's pretty cheap and easy to install on your AR. If you have a rifle, it's a folding stock bracket to basically that you can fold your stock. If for anyone that doesn't know, your stock is basically the back end of your AR, that you would put into your chest basically, and you is a bracket that you can fold that on the side of your gun, which will minimize the size of your gun, and you can put it in a regular school bag and travel with it. It's a lot of other things, a lot of other bags and things that you can wear. Like Leo said, the certain type of also a lot of labels, right? So wearing things like 511 and things like that, people would know that a lot of military wear those type of things. Certain type of boots, and you want to look like you are just probably just going to the store or something like that. You don't want to be noticeable. People can pick you out, and somebody that's really trained can actually pick up on a lot of these things. Somebody that's in law enforcement or military. So these are just some of the things that you can actually do to look inconspicuous. Ladies as well, we all, like Leo mentioned about the fringes and the zeets and things like that. That's just something that you're just going to have to use wisdom on. It's something that is required for us, but how you wear it, it's up to you. Long as you have them on, it doesn't say that you can't have them tucked in or under your garment. The scripture says for us to wear them. It doesn't say how you're supposed to wear them, as of that, right? They're for us, not for everyone else. um Also, I had a few precepts that I wanted to bring out, and then I'll pass it to brothers. They have anything, and if they don't have anything, then I'll pass it to. I see Mac is on the stage.
Also,
Uh,
Lakia,
go ahead, Malak.
yeah. Now, real quick before you get to those precepts about the fringes, I completely 100% encourage the children of Israel to wear fringes because again, Russia knows what that means. The Persians really know what that means when they see us with the fringes on. So um, it's not like, oh, there's the Hebrew Israelites. I mean, whatever. But the I'm talking about like Edom and Amalek. But when World War III pops off, they're not here for us. Okay, they're here for the Babylon and the men of Edom. So we read in Isaiah 13 that those that are joined to them will be thrusted through. So just imagine, Persia runs up, and they see a bunch of Edomites with guns and some Jakes in there, who are Edomite, lovers or whatever. They're gonna get mowed down. Okay, and then they turn the corner and see a bunch of brothers, with their staff, with fringes, and just quoting the word, and sisters there, just chilling. They're my understanding of scripture. They're gonna move on. They know exactly who we are when it comes to that. So don't be I mean, just me. I mean, I guess this is my perspective and my understanding. Definitely pray about it. But my understanding is they know what that means. They know, oh, those are the children of Israel. Nah, we ain't messing with them. We're here for Edom. We're so that's just my understanding of scriptures. So I didn't want that to be misconstrued as I'm saying don't wear them. But what I'm saying is like that's not what I meant in terms of being conspicuous. Some people think like, oh, I shouldn't wear my traditional Hebrew garments I've been wearing. No, that's not what I'm saying. If you understand, like, so I didn't want to get confused with dressing like you're from SWAT or the Marines.
No, yeah, I think everybody definitely caught that because I hope that
Con,
they understood that because even if you're working, you may work even in law enforcement, you still should in some way wear your fringes. It can be done. It's a lot of garments that you may have to put over it, but you still should have them on. I stress that even zeets, if you're not able to exactly wear the fringes, wear your zeets as well. So that is very important. So that's something that we definitely harping on. And this would kind of go to it because this is actually speaking to kind of, we had gray men. Our gray men, honestly, that we had that was moving around was Yahushua and the disciples. So that was the original gray men that moved around, and he speaks about it in the classic, right? It says this is I'm gonna go to the book of Matthew, and I'm gonna start at chapter 10, and I'm gonna be chapter 10 and 16, and I'm gonna read down if I may. It says, "Behold, I send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves, but be ye therefore wise as serpents and harmless as doves." Right? So he's literally telling you to, be inconspicuous, be, be use wisdom. He's literally telling you, right? And this is all red letter. It says, "But beware of men, for they will deliver you up to the councils, and they shall scourge you in their synagogues, and ye shall be brought before governors and kings for my sake, for a testimony against them and the Gentiles. But when they deliver you up, take no thought how or what ye shall speak, for it shall be given you in that same hour what ye shall speak. For it is not ye that speak, but the Spirit of your Father which speaketh in you." And so like at verse 21, "And the brother shall deliver up the brother to death, and the father the child, And the children shall rise up against their parents and cause them to be put to death. And ye shall be hated of all men for my name's sake, but he that endureth to the end shall be saved. But when they persecute you in this city, flee ye to another. For verily I say unto you, ye shall not have gone over the city of Israel until the Son of Man be come. So he's literally giving you what is to come. And at that time, they had to operate in a lot of time as gray men. They had to go into different cities, right? And they was still bringing out the word, right? But he's telling you how to move amongst the, be sheep amongst wolves. He's telling you, and that's literally being a gray man. You're looking like someone that is not threatening. You're looking as someone that is not causing strife, right? But those men was very sharp. They was very dangerous. They brought the word of Yahweh with them. So he's giving you a full blueprint of how to move as a gray man, and in righteousness, spiritually, that's how we have to move, right? He's giving you the rundown, right? Real quick, I just want to go over because I think Leo had brought it out, but right, we don't carry that spirit of fear, right? And I think he already brought it out, but just in touching, we must for 2 Timothy 1:7, it says, for Yahweh hath not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind, right? So we can't be fearful in moving in these times that are to come, right? Even though we may be delivered up, or we may be persecuted, we may have to flee, right? But we're going in this with wisdom, right? He didn't give us the spirit of fear. So only one we have to fear is him. And if we're keeping in his law, statutes, and commandments, we don't even have that fear, right? Because only those that are sinners are fearful of breaking the laws. For us that's in the spirit, it comes natural, right? It's a smooth process. We just do it automatically, right? We know what to do. Last precept, real quick. Yeah. I wanted to go to just touching on, of course, in this time, you have to be wise. The wisest men are going to be able to be successful in moving around and be inconspicuous, being a gray man, learning how to communicate with other brothers and things like that. Prepare, right? As it says in Second Edges, right? We got to measure the time diligently. But this is Isaiah 33 and 6, right? The classic. It says, and wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times, and strength of salvation. The fear of the Lord is his treasure, right? And the wisest men, that's going to be the most stable in this time that's moving around. That's going to be the real weapons at that time, the wisdom of men. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be these type of men that are sought after the most in this time and moving around. And they're just going to look like regular, they're going to look like regular men, right? Moving around. That's the whole point of this lesson. The last precept I wanted to bring out was Sirach. And I think Leo touched on it. Leo, did you I think you already brought it out. I'll just bring it out again. Did you bring out Sirach 19 and 6?
La.
Con. It was going to what he said about keeping your mouth shut. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of a lot of people like to say what they're doing and things like that. And you got to learn how to move without speaking. You know what I'm saying? Listen more, talk less. This is Sirach 19 and 6. It says, he that can rule his tongue shall live without strife, and he that hateth Babylon shall have less evil, right? So you want to be, a silent killer in this time, right? You don't want everyone to know, yo, I got this AR, and when Jacob's trouble hit, I'm going to anybody I see, any heathen I see, I'm going to take them out. You don't want to be moving like that. You want to be like, worrying about your family. This is what we do. You know, we're going to move silently. When you are traveling, you want to travel silently. You don't want to be out in the open making a bunch of noise, too much chattering. You want to be able to hear things in the distance, right? Watching where you step. That's people that's moving around. When you go in places, you don't want to be all giddy and goofy around. You want to be observant, looking out for exits and things, looking out for sounds of things that's going on. You know, a lot of things be going on. If you look at a lot of movies and things that are happening, the men that are moving like this, these gray men, they know when shit is about to pop off because they are looking and they can see, you know, people moving, people may be changing the area real quick, doors may be closing, cars may be pulling up. These type of things, you always got to be alert. Keep your mouth shut and your ears open. And with that, I yield.
The water. Excellent. One thing I do want to add, we can pass it on to the other brothers, and then Brother Makarov, you can get in there. When it says be wise as serpents, one of my favorite snakes is the rattlesnake, because it lets you know that that rattle is a warning. Leave me alone. Snakes, by nature, are not, loud. They're not always in the way. They slither, they move, they eat only when they're hungry. But the rattlesnake will give you a warning, leave me alone, and it will strike when it's threatened. So, other than that, the rattlesnake just, or the snakes in general, serpents, just go about their business. And that's one thing, words of wisdom we can use. Brother Azrael or Brother Mike, is there anything you want to add on before we can pass it on to Brother Makarov?
Con, I was looking for another precept, but did anybody bring out Matthew 10?
La.
Con. All right, so this is Matthew 10, in verse 23. Um, just going into the fact that you brought out, and KB had also brought out that our forefathers were gray men, during different times. Um, just wanted to touch on this just real quickly. It says, but when they persecute you in this city, flee into another. For verily I say unto you, ye
Yeah,
shall.
I did, Malak. I have brought that out.
Okay,
But
Con. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
you
that's what
did?
I was
Okay, yes,
at.
okay.
Con. Okay, then for water. Go ahead.
Brother Azrael, anything? Okay. Brother Makarov.
Uh, no, like I said before, learn those skills, get them out of your city, get them out of your neighborhood, get those things laminated and make that a part of your bug out life, right? Two things are going to be vital, when everything shuts down: your ability to communicate and your ability to travel without technology, right? Because, we've become so accustomed to having everything at our fingertips. When that gets snatched away, people are going to be losing their heads in the street. So, oh, something that crossed my mind. So, the water, for checking in to see if I had anything. As far as the making yourself a gray man is concerned, Leo kind of went into a few things. I say, make a game out of it, right? If you walk into a bar or a large public space with a lot of people, maybe with your children, maybe with a group of friends, our people like to people watch anyway, right? That's something we like to do. Whether it's folly or talking shit about people, we just do it, right? But make a game out of it, right? With a building or an enclosed space, make a game out of finding out who all in this space has on a hat or a blue shirt or a red shirt or a gray shirt, right? Sharpen your mind in that aspect. Things like that and little games like that will keep you vigilant and aware. So when the day comes, your mind will automatically go into that mode of thinking, when you need it, right? You don't just go into a fight or flight mode with no skills and you don't have anything to rely on because your mind is going to go and try to scrap up previous uh, experiences to make it through that situation. So if you're already making a game out of it and training yourself to be, like Leo said, being vigilant in all situations, especially at home, I think things like that would be good to keep yourself sharp in that aspect. But good lesson, Leo. As always, I learned a lot. Um, and hopefully we don't just hear these things; we actually apply them. So yeah, that's all I have on it. The water for the class.
God, the water, all praises to the Most High. Brother Makarov, welcome to the room. Anything you want to add concerning the topic?
Yeah, um, pretty much, shit is a fan. You're gonna have idiots, because I'm just being honest. They're fucking idiots. Wait, sorry, excuse my language. But they're idiots. Because you're gonna have idiots that come to you because they wanted to get ready for date night and dumb stuff, but they couldn't get ready to buy water. They wanted to go take pictures at their vacation resort, but they don't have money for oatmeal, and whether they're Jake or not, no sympathy for him. Oh well, you had your chance. You had the word. You had God tell you. You had we as the people tell you. You chose not to listen. Boohoo. But as far as Gray Man, that can only go to a certain extent, provided the area and the mission that you're on. If you're in an urban area, then yeah. But if you're out in the woods, like it kind of probably won't matter as much. But in a way, it will. But main thing is shoes. You don't want cheap shoes, all in the name of being a gray man. You're gonna get. I mean, there are people getting robbed and attacked and ambushed already, with just like wallets in their pocket and nothing more. So they see anybody with a book bag, no matter how colorful it is or lack thereof or tactical, they're gonna come at you. Be prepared to have to fight. Um, I'd also say pretty much, like I said, shoe wear. You're gonna be shit hits the fan. You know, like I said, depending on the operation. If you're already prepared and you're out in the woods or something, wear what you need, wear what you want. But if you're talking about, I'm gonna go do like a quick run up to the store past this checkpoint, then yeah, you definitely want to be a gray man. Um, you know, as far as the people that, oh, I'm coming to your house, like I said, I already addressed that. I'd have a plan for that. Also, people like me and some others on social media and all that, I have a plan for that too. Because one day I'm just gonna disappear and shit, and no one's gonna know when that shit happens. But other than that, it really doesn't, bother me. As far as I would just say, yeah, it's mainly mission. It's mainly about the mission. And yeah, tucking in your fringes, that's cool too. A lot of people, oh, we're not tucking in, do what you want. But at the end of the day, I mean, there's no law against it. So, but it's mainly mission specific, just like the actual people in the military do. They can't go in like dressed up like a citizen every time they do an operation. Sometimes they have to, sometimes they don't. Know what your mission is. If you're gonna be going into town, then yeah, you need to dress up like a townsperson. But if you're gonna be out at a camp that you built, you dress accordingly and you make sure you have your gear at the ready 24/7. But that's all pretty much I had to say. Probably just know your mission. Say no, and just because they're friends and family, you don't owe them anything. I'm sorry to say that, but it's a hard time, and also have a plan for that too. And that's it. Have a lie and a ton of fake names ready. Ho Chi Minh had like I think over 40. I don't know how he had a lot of different like um, pseudonyms or fake names. So have a lot of fake names ready too.
God, the water. Brother Eugene, something you wanted to add to the discussion?
Khan, shalom, shalom, kings and queens. Just want to ask, if I could just get a quick response. Just want to pose a question. On a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, one being the least, of course. How prepared would you say you all would be like right now, with a plan in place, an effective plan in place, if we were to like, I don't know, I want to pose the question right because some may believe we're already in Jacob's trouble, which I have no gripe against. But how on a scale from 1 to 10, how ready are you to say, with a plan in place, if you had to leave everything you had right now and go and flee? I would say.
Let's go right now then.
Is a question for us?
For me, like it. Well, I guess it depends. I don't know. That's the thing. Like it's kind of hard to quantify. Like I guess in terms of scale of 1 to 10, and I guess you would answer that based off how comfortable or how prepared you think you are. Um, because the thing is, like once it starts, there's no going back. So I mean, I'll put myself at a 10. So because it could happen at any moment. So it's not like, oh, I wish I can go back. Um, you know, 2 weeks you can't do that. So um, you know when this pops off, or to its full, where there is no food whatsoever, or there is troops on the ground from another country that you don't understand their language, you have no choice but to be ready. And the scripture says, quoting Second Ezra 16, is the part of preparation is fear God, leave off your sins, and He will guide you. So if you're not doing that now, to say when U.S. gets invaded, okay, now I'm going to leave off my sins. No, you're not ready. So, um, you know, I pray every day when I wake up, the Lord, please destroy this place. Please turn off this damn internet so we can stop seeing this wickedness. So I pray for it every day. So, I mean, and speak to my, I guess when I was young in this, I guess mentally, it was, oh, I need this generator. No, I got to get this gun. Oh yeah, I got to get the, like, I have no gun, I have no generator, I have none of that, and I'm completely at peace. I gave all of that away or sold it. I have none of that. So, and I'm completely at peace. So, um, you know, I'm good. If you other brothers want to answer that, feel free. But I guess my question is, why do you ask that? Like, where's your, I guess, the reason for that?
My standpoint on it, the reason me asking is just not necessarily as far as a survey to see who's preparing and who's not, because like you said, it can happen at any given moment. I think you certainly have to be ready to leave everything behind. There are those who prepare, and there are some like you, brother, who say that hey, look, either way it go, I know the Most High, we good. I'm kind of in between, and the reason I asked was just to get perspective on, what I'm saying. Maybe a general answer will give me better insight, not necessarily on what I should be doing, but there are things that, what I'm saying, I could be doing to help mentally prepare myself for what's to come, and not necessarily anything like, of course, physical every day, but mentally preparing myself more so than I'm worried about the physical. Like you said, faith in the Most High is going to be the most important thing, I think, throughout this whole um, end times. So that was the purpose of my question, just to see whether I should do more in the physical, you know what I'm saying, and also where can I get to with a point of um, faith in the spiritual sense. But nonetheless, the purpose for me asking the question to build my point of adding to the topic was to say that I think that I know I already see the link. Somebody already dropped Jeremiah 30:7. I think somebody already went to Matthew. There's a lot of precepts we can pull and gather for Jacob's trouble. Um, and I know there's a lot of things that we all are aware of. So my thing is, I'm just big right now on learning. Right now, I'm just big on learning the field. I don't know if anybody's already elaborated on this, but I've been wanting to spend a lot more time in the wilderness, and I'm talking about like on lands, open lands, fishing, hunting, uh, learning how to be more nature oriented, because I'm not going to tell a story about I've been uh I've been a city boy pretty much my whole life. I've been in touch with the countryside to an extent, but I know that I've been definitely trying to get more aware of my surroundings, especially like being out in the forest, sleeping in tents, um, just doing things like that to kind of get used to what would happen. And I know that it's a lot of things that we all do to prepare in our own ways, whether you're just a person that just reads scripture each and every day. Like, brother, like you said, you pray for the destruction and you pray for all this to be shut down with a swiftness, so that way you can we can no longer continue to see this wickedness. But I'm one of those people that, like, I kind of observe all things. I'm kind of open to all aspects, which is why my question was more so to uh, build up an understanding and a base level of where people's mindsets are, so I can kind of fathom how maybe I could do a better job at going about, you know what I'm saying, the prophecies. I guess
Um,
if that makes sense.
it definitely does, Malak. You know, I think everything you said was really, I think it was beautiful, and things that you said, because you know, you kind of speak the sense that we're actually speaking up here. It is no perfect way to prepare for something that we the Bible says we really won't be prepared for. You know what I'm saying? It's only the scriptures that would you know, in the faith, that would, you know, allow us to endure. But you know, and that's kind of why we, you know, that's why this platform is here. The Most High allowed it to be here before, you know, so that we can constantly, weekly and week out, remind our people that, you know, this thing is coming whenever it is, you know, whether it's 5 months away, 5 years away, it's coming. And you're not going to have, you know, a sufficient amount of ammo. You're not going to have the best AR or weapons. You're not going to have the most pristine hunting skills. You know, it's a combination of all these things that, you know, it would go to helping you out along with what you obtain spiritually. That's the most important thing of it, is the spiritual side of it. That, and these other things are just cherries on top to get you through to in that time, for you to be able to comfort the loved ones and your brothers and sisters around you. So I think everything that you said is, it's a combination of that, and you seem to be on the right track. I born and raised in a city, in New York City, and now I'm in South Carolina. So I'm taking in all of those things, and that's what we do here. We're just sharing in the sense of, you know, of all of our perspectives, and being able to you know, I guess, throw out ideas amongst one another, so that when this time comes, we have that network as to be able to, you know, comfort one another. That's what it says, you know, First Thessalonians, I believe it's 5 and I believe it's 12. You know, it says comfort one another, right? Know who is over you in the scriptures and things like that. And that's literally what we're doing. So I think everything you brought out was excellent, and it goes along with what we've been talking about, what we continue to talk about daily, you know.
If I could, real quick. Oh, Mike, you want to go ahead? You're moderator. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, King. I'll go after you.
All right, real quick. Yeah, especially there's one thing that he brought up about hunting. There's not enough that you can do. That's true right now. I'm hunting not like right now, but like in the past few days and probably tomorrow. I've been hunting a couple times, and first time, especially like most of the stuff, the foundational stuff I was taught, but everything I've done since probably like the past 4 years up is all self-taught. So if anyone, whether you're self-taught or you've done it for your whole life, anyone thinking they're gonna go outside and we're gonna hunt for food, I'm gonna tell you now, the reality of that is like on a scale of 1 to 10, a solid 2 if you're lucky. 1, you hunt for food, you're giving away your position. 2, most people don't have their guns sighted in. That 25-yard stuff that people do at the range ain't nowhere near enough. You see a deer from 150 yards and he hears you crack a little thing on the way up to get closer to him, he's gonna haul ass, right? So there's a lot so it's definitely gonna take a lot of faith and good works to build up, because that's what's gonna fill in the gaps. And that's my problem with the whole, and I'm just keep it real short, but there's a whole movement where brothers are like, oh, we don't need to prepare, we're just gonna have faith. On these apps, people talk the biggest amount of crap possible, and on the street, they're quiet as hell. You're not going to tell a man with a family, hey, don't stock up, just have faith. Don't bother buying what you've already been buying. Just have faith that everything's... That's not practical. Drop my damn rifle. That's not practical, yo. That's not practical. It's not. So the thing is, you need to be able to have the idea that my training and my training is going to get me like a certain percentage, but my good works and my faith on top of my training is going to fill in the gaps, because there are plenty of gaps that everybody from the biggest Edomite to the biggest Jake have. So that's what I would say. Your training is going to definitely help you out a lot, but your faith and good works, like Second Esdras 9 and 7, that's what's gonna fill in the gaps when your training isn't there. So that's how I'd supplement it.
Khan, I definitely agree with everything Makarov brought out in dealing with preparation. I just wanted to answer the brother's question. When it comes to preparation, I would always say that the spiritual is the most important. Next would be the mental aspect of it that would go right behind that. Behind that would be the physical, because we all definitely do have to train. We definitely do have to prepare in the physical. You should be practicing shooting, like Makarov. I appreciate a lot of his videos that he drops. They definitely encourage me. Um, we should be learning how to hunt. We should be learning how to do all of those things. Um, and then lastly would be, the resources, because if it comes down to resources, the Edomites already won, but they don't have a God, so they don't have that spiritual protection that we will have during those times. And they also do not have the mental, fortitude, because they've never really gone through anything. So, just to land me back off the question that you had, that was just my answer for it.
Yeah, I definitely agree with the points. Uh, brother Ben the King, and Mike Makarov, brother Leonard. I definitely agree. I mean, it's a lot. Like I say, I know it's spiritual. Spiritual is going to be the biggest. You know what I'm saying? Because you can't do nothing without faith. It's the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. So without it, we're nothing. You know what I'm saying? And if we don't have faith, especially in these last days, you can't even endure the slightest thing on a day-to-day basis. All the spiritual warfare we all deal with on an everyday basis, we won't be able to endure. And I guess that's what I try to preach to my family when I'm talking about prophecy and everything and what's going to happen, explaining to them about, how to prepare, things that we should be doing. I think more so I'm bigger on the faith side, only because I just know that that's more of what I know how to do in a sense. You know what I'm saying? That's something that I know that I can elaborate on because I'm educated enough to say that, look, this is why your faith is going to be the biggest thing. Now, I'm not too educated and skilled in the tactical side yet, you know what I'm saying? But like Brother Mike said, I definitely pay attention to the videos my brother drops. And it definitely helps. He offers all support all the time. If you ask questions, uh, brother, he definitely answers them. So I definitely watch the videos. I definitely take heed to the physical aspect of things. I'm just trying to get more so. I guess my people and all our people, but my family, see, they're not necessarily in the truth, but I'm trying to bring them in slowly but surely. But what I try to do is I try to make sure their faith is where it needs to be at first, because I think it'll be pointless for me to go ahead and take them out to the field and let's go condition and let's go do some workouts. Let's go, fire ammo and stuff like that. And they don't even have the faith of, of any size, no stability.
That
And
last
I
part.
just say I'll just say this real quick, because having taken it like a lot of training, tactical training, in my years of law enforcement, still going over videos and things like that. I actually watch my brother Mac as well, but
Con,
as we go to the scriptures, the greatest warrior in our history was our King David, and in what was it, Psalms, what is it, 44:1, Psalms 144:1, he
Mm-hmm.
thanked the Most High that prepare his hands for war, right, and his fingers for fighting. He always prayed before a battle, and when he went in battle, he was successful. So the spiritual aspect is paramount. And at times, you could train all you want, and that shit will not kick in. You will be, that fear will take over. He had the strongest men get fear on the battlefield and die. So that spiritual aspect is paramount.
Oh yeah. Say that again. That's spiritual. There's one thing that even when I was watching heathen movies and programs, and looking at some of the some of the stuff that inspired me even before I came into the church, the Vikings, right? You know, heathen nation. Even though I do believe that there are some similarities between the Viking people and the Jake, but for the most part, just for right now, we'll say heathen nation. But pretty much one thing that they had was to die in battle is a glorious honor, and that's something I took on because most people are afraid of death. And like Leo, he said he prays for this stuff every day. For I've seen him tweet so much about praying for Babylon's coin to collapse. Man, that good Lord, if I had $1 for every time he talked about it. But seriously, you know, he's right. He's spot on. You know, that prayer, because you know you got. I would tell everyone who can hear me, like, have a prayer that you pray that you really, really mean. And you know what, the first time I felt it, I was literally like near my couch and it just like hit me like a ton of bricks. Yeah. So have a prayer that you really pray for the times ahead, like, and you seriously mean that. Like, if someone were to hold a gun to your head and say, this is the last prayer that you'll ever make in your life, and I'm gonna blow your brains out, that would be like, you really gotta mean it in your spirit and everything, and imagine it as you pray it. You know, and some, like Leo, he has his. Mine is, you know, when that day comes, you know, to die for the Most High would be amazing. And when I fall, you know, I want to have taken out plenty of them before they get to me. That's something I seriously pray, and because you know, like, there are a lot of people that are afraid of death. So I would think of the end result. You know, many of us, like the Bible says, may not taste death, but many of us will. You know, so I would say the main thing is like the spiritual thing, and on the spiritual side, getting rid of fear. The best way to get rid of fear is to have a noble aim that you can live for. So when you die, you know that you did enough work to get the most utility out of that noble aim. And that noble aim for the Viking was to die for battle, to die for Valhalla and die in battle. We can do that same thing. Die for the Most High, if he has us go out that way, and die going down swinging, you know, knowing that our ancestors like deserve it, we deserve it. The Most High deserves to see like his people go down with a fight, not just, oh, whatever. Like, no, that's horse crap. So have a noble aim in your mind. Whatever it is, the Most High will lead you to it. And when you pray for that, mean it.
And so I just want to add to that. No, my prayer, if there was a gun to my head, it would be Psalms 91. So that's one thing I would recommend in terms of building your spirit is get some good precepts memorized. Psalms is full of them. You know, they're not too long. You know, get that memorized. But yeah, that'd be the prayer that was the last prayer I prayed. That would be Psalms 91. So, but no, I pray every day for the destruction of Babylon. So, you know, our people can be free from this wickedness. But, you know, hopefully that's helpful, Brother Eugene, about everything that the brothers have said tonight. And for those in the crowd, hopefully you guys find this helpful. You have any more questions or comments, Brother Eugene?
Khan, I just got one more question. So, um, how do you all, when it comes to, talking prophecy, what is the best way to relate it to those who are probably not aware, and you trying to help make it aware? Like, what are some uh informational development traits, or what are some informational development tactics that you all use to help make the ones who you are trying to make aware that are not aware? If you get what I'm saying, like, how do you warn those who don't know, who don't go into scripture, who are not really necessarily in the truth? What are some things you all do to warn those people?
I got a precept really quick. This is Isaiah, book of Isaiah, um, chapter, I think it's 58. One second. Book of Isaiah, chapter 58, verse 1. Cry loud, spare not, lift up thy voice like a trumpet, and show my people their transgressions and the house of Jacob their sins. Given that the time frame we're in, you don't have a lot of time to be, coddling and, you really don't. I mean, John the Baptist, repent for the kingdom is at hand. Short, simple, to the point. Isaiah 58:1, cry loud, spare not. So, and the thing is, I got, I'm just, I guess speaking for me, I have a lot of family members that I've tried to tell over the years, they laughed, they scoffed. They don't want to listen. They don't care. They believe in the rapture before the tribulation. They believe, all this other stuff. And, those who don't, they just don't care. So, I mean, at some point, the spirit's going to tell you, or you're going to feel it in your spirit to don't talk to that person anymore about it. And that's one thing that you have to be okay with, because not everyone's going to get it. I know, we have loved ones, maybe people in our own household. Some people just don't want to hear it. They don't care. It's as in the days of Noah. So, um, that's me. Of course, if people are like, well, where did you get this from? Or where did you get your understanding from? Then you can go into the scriptures and show them. For my family, for the most, it was the rapture before the tribulation. They believe in that rapture doctrine. So I had to show them that there's no such thing, and that whole thing was made up based on the scriptures. They don't want to hear it after that point, because then you have to face the harsh reality that everyone has to go through the tribulation. So, and then at some point, after we got some pretty heated arguments, I just let it go. So if the Most High wants to wake them up, He will. I pray for them every day. But terms of trying to wake them up or tell them or warn them, I just get to the point, short, simple. You could try to do the conversation, but if they know you're, and here's the thing about that, if they know that you're stalking, they're going to ignore you. I mean, because they're going to just say, oh, I'll just go to your house if something happens, don't worry, I don't need to stalk, I don't need to prepare, because I'll just go to your house. They're going to have that mindset. So at some point you got to realize they don't want to hear it, and just let the Most High open their eyes when and if He sees fit. With that, I yield.
If I could, real quick, I would say, yeah, just pull the band-aid off. We don't, they either get it or they don't. And, that's it. You don't have to be like harsh with it, but you don't have to pull out the Bible at first. But if there were a liaison to bridge the gap, I would say just start them off with that. Like, say they're watching the news, yeah, and they're like, man, this vaccine stuff is really getting out of control. Give them the history. Like, say you make a comment like, man, I remember George Orwell wrote some stuff about this, like in 1984, or these things have been building up. Give them the history real quick, and then give them like a real quick, future, and say like even the Bible like talks about this stuff too. Like first you give them historical, then you give them the biblical, and then once you mention that, it's like they have logical and spiritual, and if that don't work right then in that moment, maybe the Most High could give it to them later. But then again, if that don't work afterwards, then oh well. Because at the end of the day, the Bible says those who have a good understanding are the ones who do the commandments. So until they start putting forth the commandments, they ain't gonna understand a dang thing.
I'll just say real quick. You are the first example for anyone else. You are the walking billboard. So anyone in your family that hasn't, that is to get it, I guess from you, they would have to see that you are doing it, keeping the commandments to the best of your ability. That goes into, what is that? Second Philippians 2:12. Work out your own salvation, right? So you got to be keeping the laws. You got to be cemented in this. You can't be lukewarm. That's the first and foremost aspect of it, that you're doing that. On the flip side of that, the Most High don't want everyone. So it's only going to get to who it's supposed to get to, so you can talk until you blue in the face a lot of times, and they not going to get it. They just ain't going to get it. My whole family born as Israelites. I am the only one of the grandsons, probably one after me, that got it out of 4 generations of Israelites. So not everyone's going to get it. Some people is not built to stay in this thing. If you go into what is it, second, I believe it's Second Timothy 2:15, that says it's a study to show thyself approved unto Yahweh, and a workman that needeth not to be ashamed, rightly divided the word of truth, right? And that's one that's a classic that's constantly brought out. But that's that diligent study that you will be able to, gain this understanding and to be able to share it with others. Now, how you go about sharing it with others, you go no sense to, because you have to do that. If and you have to be able, once you understand it, once you have it down pat, then you would be able to share it with others. How you can share it with others is by relating it to the times that we're in. As we went to Matthew 10 and we read from 16 on down, we basically was able to show that, the Yahushua and the disciples was great men, how they moved around, being inconspicuous and things like that. And he told you how to move with subtlety, right? So if you and you'll be able to explain it to them. You got to give them the sense because you know the Bible. So you are the disseminator of the understanding and the truth. So Nehemiah 8:8, it says, Salakia, I'm reading the wrong one. Okay, right. Yes, 8:8, Salakia. It says, so they read in the book, in the law of Yahweh distinctly, and gave the sense and caused them to understand the reading. So you are actually, Brother Eugene, you're going to be giving a sense to your people and being able to relate it with the times that we're in. That's what we do every morning here on the news. We give the sense, not only with the news that is current, we relate it to the Bible and prophecy, right? That's what this whole platform is about, 3:17, so like Ezekiel 3:17, warning our people. So it's our job as watchmen to be able to break down these scriptures from us studying diligently and be able to give the sense of the Bible as relating to the times, because nothing new is under the sun, right? It's the Most High's requiring what once passed. So you are literally in that position by you studying, and you'll be able to show them, this is what's happening. Second Esdras 15, 14 or down, where a man will not be allowed to, go into a city. He'll be barred, and you can show them that the mandates are taking effect and they're actually blocking people out of the city. So that's how you do it, just by you studying, and you'll be able to relate it to the times and give them the sense. And if they accept it, it's good. You know what I'm saying? They saved their life, but if they don't, the blood is off your hands. That goes back into that Ezekiel 3:17.
Khan, the water.
I end the bar, Malak.
Khan, all praises. There's no more questions. I don't have anything else. Brother Ben, you can feel free to close us out. Yeah, Brother Eugene, stay tapped in and become a member. Be sure to follow everyone on stage, and we definitely be in touch. So I don't have anything else, for tonight. So, Brother Ben, you don't have anything else, or any of the moderators or anyone else on stage, we can go ahead and close out.
Khan. Of course. We thank everyone for coming out. Of course, we want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh by Shem Yahweh Shai. We thank him for allowing us to come before the people and, be able to, give the sense and, allowing us to stand before the people and deliver his message, and try to get our people prepared. We thank everyone for coming out. We pray that y'all have a beautiful rest of your evening and stay safe, stay vigilant, and shalom.
Yeah. Touch on trouble, yeah. What you gonna do? Yeah. What now? What you gonna do? In time of trouble. Trouble is yeah. You better not, yeah. Trouble is yeah.